for Motorola, part of Homes and Network Services Department. For the last 2 years, I've been engaged with rollout of WiMAX within EMEA region. Started off with Wakil and then White. Now I'm working on some projects in Middle East, do metro, there is a metro solution based on WiMAX, and Minatel in the Hague. So can we proceed? What we try to do is, give you an introduction to what was the motivation behind WiMAX, where it came from. So we all probably, the people who have, engineering background know that there is a 3GPP partnership, third generation partnership project, which creates the standards for cellular system. There are two separate branches that have been up till now separate from each other, but they are converging to a single standard. So we have the GSM standard, which we are all aware of, mostly in Europe, Middle East, Africa. I would say, other than Japan and North America, this has been the dominating technology up till now. With the GSM, which introduced GPRS to data, and then ADGE for higher speed data, then UMGH, HSPA, which is the 3G technology, getting close to where WiMAX is today, and eventually it goes into the LTE standard. On the CDMA side, which is primarily driven by North America, Qualcomm, having the main patent holder for this. They started CDMA, then this evolution of CDMA 2000 for 1X, which we call, that's deployed here mostly in local loop implementation. Then it evolved into higher speed with 1X EVDO. I think PTCL is now offering that. Going up, it started 1X EVDO, RAV0, RAV-A, RAV-B, and RAV-C is what is being worked on. And this, I believe this is where kind of is the end of line for CDMA, and it converges into LTE. Primarily, the motivation from WiMAX, I think what has happened is that the players who were in the CDMA domain, they wanted an alternate that can compete with LTE, and they put their backs behind WiMAX. So that's why CDMA, EVDV was their initial plan to come against LTE, but they realized they need something else, and WiMAX is what is being proposed. So where does WiMAX come from? It comes from, it's not part of the 3GPP world. It does not come from the traditional telecom standardization world. It comes from IEEE. Okay? So most of you guys who work with data communication network, the basic 802.3 Ethernet comes from the IEEE standard. So this is an evolution of their concept of how communication would look like going forward. So they have their wireless local area network, which is .11 standards, D, G, N. This is for a small, office type environment. So you have wireless communication through Wi-Fi. Does not support mobility, handovers and stuff. Next, to go along with it, keep going. There are 3 of these standards which are kind of built-in, Bluetooth and ZigBee, which are personal area networks. So within my domain, if I'm sitting in a car, I want to communicate between devices within a car. My handsets want to connect to the internal audio system to provide you hands-free. That's where these 3 standards come in. To complete the loop, so you have local area network, you have personal area network. Now, if I want to move around, that's the metropolitan area network. And here's where WiMAX fits in. So it allows you to, within that same domain, allows you to higher bandwidth and roaming capabilities and handoffs between sites. So full mobility. It kind of shows, it's not coming clear here, but what it's showing is that what WiMAX is using is OFDM, smart variable modulation, and smart antennas. Now these are basic ingredients which are taking us to 4G, and this is exactly what LTE is using. So there is a convergence, that's what they say, there is a convergence of the air interface happening marketing here. So WiMAX and LTE are both using the same air interface and same functionality to provide higher bandwidth or what we say broadband connectivity to the end. It's some more stuff on the standards, how it's evolving. So .16 started as a point-to-point solution only. It did not initially had OFDM. So basically microwave connection that we use right now, similar to that. Point-to-point Ethernet connectivity. .C was some modification was made, enhancements, so .C came in, OFDM was added, and .A was still a point-to-point, but added multi-point, but there was no user authentication, still a point-to-point connection. So it's targeting enterprise service providers backend. No concept of users. This evolved into D, and D is where you had the concept of user level support. So authentication was added, QoS was added, discrimination between different type of traffic was added. The difference was D was still non-mobile. It was a fixed pneumatic, it had a fixed pneumatic support. E is the evolution which brings mobility to it. Okay, so what WiMAX is doing? New standard, new way of doing things, new networks. There is new spectrum available for it. So what this allows us to do is a lot of new providers can come enter this game. There was, there is a saturation in the existing telecom cellular industry. The spectrum is all being bought out, and it's very expensive now if you want to go enter this market. So what this did was WiMAX comes in and it tries to cater for the higher bandwidth which was not being used by cellular systems. And the availability of this new spectrum allows you to have new players coming into the WiMAX segment.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Sir, do you think that going to higher frequencies will reduce the cell size and will require a higher capex to cover the same city as compared to GSM?
Right. So we'll go into that. So there is a slide, not to GSM, but we'll go into that in GSM. So the basic things that were considered as part of the evolution of WiMAX was that per bit per hertz. That is, how you measure how much bandwidth you are getting out of the spectrum. And in that sense, they wanted to maximize that. And here's where WiMAX was specially targeted to get most bits out of your spectrum. Right now, WiMAX is better than any other 3G technology, where it is LTE and WiMAX are competing. LTE is slightly better in terms of per bit at the moment. But they have, both of them are by far much ahead of UMTS or HSPDA or HSPA plus. Flexible install, both LTE and WiMAX, the work that they want to do self-optimizing networks and easy to install, so the OpEx needs to be, they want to reduce the OpEx and they are trying to do certain things. The size of these new base sites is very small also. Unlike CDMA base stations where you will have a enclosure where you have to place these things, the new base stations are the size of a PC. So you don't, and these are completely outdoor units which come in built in with the environmental protection. So you don't have to do site preparation, you just bring in the box, find a place on the pole and put it in. So that's low weight, small dimensions, low power utilization, that is what we are targeting. 2D mobile, CapEx again, these are supposed to be, so you just mentioned there are more sites. What they're trying to do is the cost of the site is so less, and just development of the site is so less, you can put more sites in there. Going forward. This is the spectrum that, the frequencies on which WiMAX and LTE are competing. So they are sort of, there is the convergence here at 2.5. This is where the fight between LTE and WiMAX is happening. This is the competition. But it does not really impact Pakistan. 2.5 spectrum you don't have here for WiMAX. It is basically in North America, Europe, where they had option 2.5 spectrum for WiMAX. which is now the thing that LTE also supports. There is a tussle whether those frequencies at per option would be used in WiMAX or LTE. In Pakistan, it's 3.5. There is no 3.5 support at the moment in LTE.